they won yesterday, 45-41 against the Bears. Hey, by the way, Brian Wilson in with Dan Bongino. Larry O'Connor will be back tomorrow. On the line right now is Trevor Matich. So, Trevor, look, there are some good things to say about yesterday's victory, but I think you'll agree with me there's still some problems that need to be addressed. But let's start with the positive. Trevor,
okay.
Now, what do you think was the positive?
Well, the positive was, holy smokes, RG3 took a quantum step up from last week. Last week, the problem was not that he wasn't mobile. He's been getting more and more mobile. It seems like his knee injury is behind him. But last week against the Cowboys, he only completed 49% of his passes. He missed a lot of receivers that were open and there to be able to move the ball. He just missed them, just flat out missed them. Inaccuracy. Well, this game, he completed 62% of his passes, throwing the ball deep down the field. And he had to do that because the Bears dared him to. They came up to stack the line against the run, and RG3 was more accurate throwing the ball down the field. And that's really good for the Redskins because when you add that to his increased mobility, it puts more stress on the defenses. So that's a huge positive. RG3's continued progress.
Well, let me stop you right here because he spoke about that after the game. Here's what he had to say.
Definitely in the NFL, and this is the highest level to play this game, so definitely most emotional. Felt good, great team win. We had to win a shootout, and we did, and that's what we talked about as a team. Whatever the situation calls for, that's what we got to do.
He also said, I saw him after the game, he said, it looks like things are sort of coming together. He felt like things were coming together for him.
Yeah, and he's right, and that is important. And he's also right that, they had to win a shootout. I mean, they had to win against Dallas, a tight defensive battle, and Redskins' defense was magnificent, but the offense didn't bust a grape in that game. Well, this time around, in the first half, the Bears only had 47 total yards. I mean, the Redskins' defense just stifled the Bears in the first half. In the second half, with a backup quarterback, the Bears came out and looked like world beaters. They either scored or missed a field goal in every single drive they had in the second half, except the last drive when they ran out of time.
Yeah, but still they racked up a lot of points there. Now, does that speak to a continuing problem with the defense?
Well, yeah, that really does. Although, again, part of the problem is it goes back to safety. Remember that last year they had problems at the safety position largely because of injury. This year they're having problems at the safety position largely because the rookie that they thought would come in and do well, Bakari Rambo, has not done well. He was inactive in this game. And then the veteran that finally got healthy, Brandon Merriweather, keeps on hitting opposing players in the head and getting 15-yard penalties. So the safety position is still a mess.
Yeah, Trevor looked like arena football for a bit yesterday. But jumping back quickly to RG3, last year I went to the Vikings game where they had beaten the Vikings, the Skins, at home, and I'll tell you, RG3 looked like he looked superhuman. I mean, I'd never seen a QB play like that in a game, and being there live, I guess it really hammered home. But was his accuracy issues, were they more mechanical problems due to his knee injury? I mean, I noticed the first couple of weeks, and a lot of the commentators were commenting on this, that it didn't look like he was planting appropriately, maybe something in his head about his knee just not being right yet.
Yeah, when you have an injury, when you come back, often you have to relearn how to do things. I mean, I've had injuries that have kept me out for extended periods. And then when you come back, your muscle memory is so rusty that you're off. And his muscle memory with how he throws the ball was off. And that was unfortunate because at Baylor in college, he was very accurate. Last year, he was incredibly accurate just flicking the ball around. In other words, not even having to plant his feet and stride into it with perfect technique in a clean pocket. Because in the NFL, you often don't get a clean pocket. You have to be able to throw the ball with your feet all messed up. And he was able to do that accurately last year anyway. Well, this year, and that's why I didn't think it would be a huge problem this year, even if his footwork was rusty, because his arm was so good. But this year his arm was just as rusty as everything else. And hopefully this is an indication that his arm is back, because they need that, because otherwise defenses will do what they've done in the first month of the season, which is bring everybody up to the line of scrimmage to stop Alfred Morris, the running back, and dare RG3 to beat him down the field, which he couldn't really do until yesterday.
Well, standout performances by Roy Halou, 3 touchdowns. Alfred Morris had 95 yards, but there was this guy, Jordan Reed, who we haven't heard a lot about. 9 catches, 134 yards. Tell me about Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed's a tight end rookie from the University of Florida, and he's the reason that Fred Davis was inactive, or one of the reasons. I mean, Fred Davis was supposed to be the Redskins' big tight end receiving threat, and he wasn't even in uniform in this game, even though he reportedly was healthy. And last week against the Cowboys, Reed had 4 catches in the first half. The Cowboys could not stop Reed. You know how many catches Reed ended with last week against the Cowboys?
How many?
4 catches.
Yeah, it was.
He had 0 catches in the second half. Well, in this game, the game plan was to force feed the ball to Jordan Reed early, often, and consistently. And he ended up with half of RG3's completions. RG3 completed 18 passes. 9 of them went to Jordan Reed, and it's because of the matchup problem. Reed is one of those tweeners that he's in between a little guy and a big guy. So if you cover him with a smaller guy that can run with him, his body is too big and he'll just beast the ball away from you. If you cover him with a bigger guy that's more of an even match physically at the line of scrimmage, he'll outrun them. So as a matchup problem, he's a good option for the Redskins to have.
Right, kind of cut from that Kellen Winslow Jr. mold.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it's like that because you can't really cover him with the kind of guy that is his size. And so what he's shown right now is he's got wide receiver skills in a tight end body, and that really is good for the Redskins because right now, truthfully, the wide receivers aren't performing all that well, or at least they're not being that productive. How much of that is the receivers and how much of that has been RG3 is up to interpretation. But certainly with Reed, he's got a great connection with RG3, and that's something that RG3 had last year with Pierre Garçon, a great connection. Well, this year, that connection with Garçon has not been there. Right now, it's there with Reed.
Yeah, you got it with Reed. Okay, so next week it's the Broncos, and
oh no,
yeah, what? I know.
The Broncos looked unbeatable, didn't they? But they went into Indianapolis and lost.
I know. That's the thing I'm surprised about. Peyton Manning lost, and now the only undefeated team in National Football League is, what, the Kansas City Chiefs?
I think the Chefs.
Yeah, how about that? Redskins have to play them, too. The way they lost was they were off their game. They committed, I think, 10 penalties or so. They had 3 turnovers. This is the Broncos. But the Colts didn't have the spectacular video game numbers to match Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning still threw the ball all over the place. But what the Colts did is what the Redskins can do, and that is run the ball and pass the ball with equal efficiency, have balance. And if the Redskins offense comes in with balance, they've got a chance, not to out-duel Peyton Manning, but to outplay him as a team. And keep in mind that Champ Bailey, the former Redskin who now plays for Denver, who's a corner, one of the best in the league, left that game against the Colts with a foot injury. And I don't know if he'll be back against the Redskins. If he's not, that's another advantage the Redskins might have.
All right. Listen, Trevor Matich, always appreciate it. Thank you for your assessment.